Welcome to the Happy Gaijin. I'm Nathan. Today we're going to be watching a video and I'm going to be adding some commentary as a tourist, a traveler who's traveled to Japan over 20 times over nearly a decade. Hopefully I'll be able to give you some insights and see if I agree or not agree. As always, I recommend that you check out the original video. But first of all, let's see who and what we're reacting to. We're going to be reacting to one more time to Mrs. Eats. And it's a video called Japan is not as high-tech as you think. Finally, a video that is a little bit different. Everything else seems to be Japan is weird, Japan is in the future. This one, the title anyway, seems quite different. So let's get started.
Why do people think Japan is so advanced and high-tech?
Why? Why do people think that Japan is so high-tech and advanced? Because they watch anime and they watch snippets of other content creators and other videos that tell them Japan is living in the future, and because at the same time there are various things that Japan does very well and various things that Japan might make it seem like Japan is living in the future and high tech. I think that there are some things that Japan are ahead of, but many other things where Japan isn't really ahead of, and you'd be surprised. So yeah, I think a lot of people have basically been tricked by, you know, like social media, TikToks, shorts, and other content that they might watch that doesn't necessarily lie, but might bend the truth a little bit. Anyway, let's carry on.
It's true that we have very advanced technology like high-speed trains that can travel up to 200 miles an hour, hotels that are staffed by robots, and even...
True. All of these things are true. But there are other countries that have fast trains too. I don't think there's any other countries that have robot hotels though, I must say.
The most futuristic invention, the gamer urinal. This toilet from the future had sensors that not only measures your pee amount, but your...
Okay, I covered this in another reaction video, like another video where I was adding some commentary. But this one seems to be going a little bit more into detail, which I'm loving already. I love the fact that Mrs. Eats goes into all of this additional detail and gives a relatively good, accurate representation of what's going on. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
P power. It then uses advanced algorithm to translate your P data into the world's most intense video games like Fit It Up, Mannequin Piss. How many cans of coffee can you fill with your tinkle? Or...
Come on. This is kind of ridiculous. But I love it. I love it. It's kind of ridiculous, but I love it.
How about gangster battle? Milk from your nose. Is your bladder strong enough to blast your opponent out of the ring? And if these look familiar to you, that's because you've definitely played them in Yakuza Kiwami 2.
Ooh, oh, I haven't played that game, but I know the game because a lot of comments in my main channel, the Ninja Monkey channel, a lot of commenters say, "Oh, I've been to that place. It appears on this game, Yakuza." So, interesting. Really?
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
But even with advanced technology,
I want that. I want that. Okay, I take it all back. Japan is living in the future. Japan is living in the future. I take it all back.
technology like this, a lot of the technology that we use every day is ancient. And I'm sure a lot of you guys who are not living in Japan are actually living much futuristic life compared to
I don't know. Maybe.
us when it comes to these things.
Let's see. Hanging by wire. Well, you know what?
Did you know in Japan we
see.
still hang our laundry outside?
So do I. I tend to hang all of my laundry out in the line outside. So
When I was at my mother-in-law's house, I asked her,
Excuse me, where can I hang this fucking shirt?
And she looked so shocked. Make sure to shock your mother-in-law with your own fucking shirt. Yes, I'm pretty sure she was shocked to hear that we still hang clothes outside in Japan. And almost
Wait a minute. Do other countries not like hang out their clothes? Like, I don't know. I honestly think this is normal for me. Like, I hang all of my clothes outside. Although I understand that if you come from a country where it's wet and horrible, like maybe the UK, and I'm not saying the UK is horrible, I love the UK, but the weather can be horrible. Let me specify before I get those comments down below saying, you said that the UK is horrible. No. But I understand that some countries, due to the weather, they might require you to hang differently or to use tumble dryers, etc. But yeah, I don't have a tumble dryer.
any house or apartment, there is a place where you can hang your laundry outside. But of course, there are some tiny Japanese apartments with no outdoor area to hang your laundry. So what do you do in that case? In the shower room, there is a special line that you can use to hang your laundry. Then you turn on the laundry fan. It makes a
Okay, I don't have this where I live, but I do have a line here actually that I could pull out, and I can hang out things inside if it's raining outside. So similar in a way.
shower room warm so the clothes can dry. Also, clothes dryers are pretty expensive in Japan. Some of them can cost up to $1,000. But I would say even if Japanese have clothes dryers, they still prefer to hang their clothes outside. First,
I prefer it. I think it's I don't know, it's fresher. I don't know how to explain it. Anybody on team laundry outside, or are you team laundry tumble dryer? Let me know in the comment section.
we feel that sunshine makes the clothes even cleaner. Every time I dry my clothes outside, I really love the smell of the sunshine.
Mrs. Eats, I love you, Mrs. Eats. You are in the same like wavelength as me. I don't do that, by the way.
Second, it's free to hang clothes outside. As we showed
It
in our
is.
video about the daily cost of living in Japan, electricity can be pretty expensive
Maybe one to comment on in the future.
if you are not careful. So, with a little sunshine, we can have dry clothes for free. Of course, if you are in the country that use clothes dryer, it might sound weird to you, right? But don't worry, we have a very advanced technology for hanging clothes. For example, this clothes clip that
I have that. I have pretty much the same thing, guys. And I'm not in Japan right now.
Mr. Eats got as a gift is so useful. It has special clips that rotate so you can just pull the clothes off the clip instead of having to unclip them. But there's one bad thing about hanging our clothes outside.
What's that?
Panty thieves.
I wasn't expecting that. And believe it or not, we also have those. But probably in Japan it's worse. But we do have those also.
They are always sneaking around, getting
Oh my
ready
God.
to steal somebody else's underwear. The worst part is these panty thieves have also developed high-tech tools to steal panties and bras.
Oh my goodness, what?
For example, in Aichi Prefecture, a 68-year-old man used an advanced mechanical grappling tool to steal women's hanging underwear. Because of these
Wow. I mean, wow. For context, there is some issues when it comes to like invasion of privacy of women, especially in train stations where there's upskirting. And it's part of the reason why women have their own cart, their own car on the train, especially during rush hour. This just takes it to a whole different level because it's actually invading somebody's privacy of where they're actually hanging up their clothes. But yeah, it is something, I don't know how common it is, but I've heard of this similar things like this happening elsewhere, including here, but not very often. But I can imagine Japan being such a big country, so populated, Tokyo specifically, that this might happen more often than not.
weird anti-superior technology, Japan has created special tool to stop them. For example,
What?
this special device lets you hide your underwear when you need to hang them to dry. Just clip your underwear, then cover everything with a shirt or jacket. Then any purpose passing by will...
Ooh, ingenious. I was actually talking to a friend, some of my friends that live in Japan, and they told me they find it a bit weird that when they go to somebody's house, their underwear is hanging. And I said to them, you know what? I don't find that weird at all. You know, coming from this sort of society, it's kind of common to see underwear hanging up, and it's just normal. What are your thoughts on that? This is the weirdest commentary video ever. We're talking about panties. We're talking about whether or not you find other people's underwear weird or not.
Just ignore it. Or you can use this special alarm to secure your panties.
Are you kidding me?
It's originally made for children to use in case creepy hentai tries to grab them.
I'm loving Mr. Eats also, by the way. Hello, Mr. Eats, if you're watching this.
Some people use this alarm for underwear too. Just attach one end to the pole and the other end to your panties. And the thief will have a big surprise.
Yeah, but you'd have to buy like loads of those like alarms. Unless you only like have one. No. Okay, next.
If you ever stayed in a Japanese house during winter, you know it's really freezing inside, right? Sometimes the inside of the...
Okay, I've never stayed in a Japanese house during winter. I'm just saying it, being honest. However, I have stayed in Japanese hotels, and I would say it's the opposite. Japanese hotels have their heating cranked up, and sometimes I go into my room and I try to open the window just to get a little bit of fresh air, and sometimes I can't even open the window, and it's horrible.
It's even colder than outside.
Wow.
You heading out?
No, just heading to the bathroom to take a dump.
I love these little skits that they're doing together. It's pretty cool.
Don't forget to take the seat warmer.
Yep. Got it.
Hey.
Yes, Japanese houses are very cold. Why are they so cold? That's because of poor insulation system. It can also be very dangerous. The cases of heart attacks and strokes rise a lot in the winter.
Interesting. I mean, Japan is just one of these countries that has like crazy climate. It's really hot in the summer, and similar, a lot of people do end up like can potentially die from dehydration, from heat stroke, etc. Especially now that it's becoming incredibly hot in the summer. But obviously also in the winter.
Because of the temperature differences in the house. We don't use central heating in Japan. We only heat up the room that we are using. So temperature differences between rooms can be 10 degrees Celsius or even more apart. Because of this, some elderly people's body go into shock mode when they enter the room that is not heated.
I did not know this. I mean, I can understand why it happens, but it's kind of shocking, especially with Japan having, I think, one of the world's leading aging population. I think it's the country with the most people over the age of 100. So it is worrying.
Heated. Japanese homes have been built for summers for a long time. So it's more focused on good airflow to keep the homes cool and to prevent mold from growing because of the humidity. Of course, the old idea was you can put as much clothes as you want when it's cold, but...
Okay, yeah. I mean, even when you go to a hotel or a ryokan, you'll be given a yukata to wear. And sometimes there's like a I think it's called a kipu. I'm not very sure. But you have like another sort of like a little jacket that you could put over the yukata to keep you warm. So the whole layering thing, I could see where she's going with this.
In the summer, there's not much thing you can do about it. Also, if you want to have a better insulation system in your house, it's gonna cost a fortune. So I think most people would rather put the money into having a nicer kitchen, bathroom, etc. instead of having better insulation.
Interesting. I'm learning a lot here, actually.
So, next time when you decide to come to Japan during winter, make sure to bring as much as winter clothes you can because you're gonna be wearing them all the time.
However, I have heard that a lot of more modern Japanese like apartments and houses have underfloor heating. I don't know how common that is becoming, but I have heard that. And also, you need to remember that a lot of the toilet seats, they are very, very futuristic, and they're usually heated, which is kind of nice.
As I mentioned earlier, in Japan, we don't have central heating system in the house. So what do? In many old-fashioned homes, schools, or old buildings, there's a gas heater called a stove. This heater gets super hot. So
Yeah, I have been to more traditional places, and I've seen them before.
it can be very dangerous if you touch it or
I can
knock it
imagine,
over.
yeah. Ooh,
But
yeah.
there's very interesting about it is you can cook on top of the stove. Usually you will see a kettle of water on top
I've seen this. I have actually seen this before.
so that it adds some humidity to the room. Also, you will always have hot water ready for your tea. Some people also cook some mochi on it.
Ooh.
But this
Mochi, yes, I love mochi.
kind of heater is very common. It uses kerosene and it can keep the room really warm. But there are two small problems about it. First, it's such a pain in the butt to refill. You have
Okay, I can imagine.
to take out the inner tank, then fill it up with kerosene. In
Oh,
a lot
wow.
of Japanese homes, you'll find these plastic containers just
Ah.
for the heater's fuel. Also, you have to use a special pump to fill up the heater tank. Sometimes
That looks really dangerous also for me. I think I would be worried.
it can spill or get on your hands. As you can see, it's very dangerous, if the kerosene
I will be
get in your
worried.
eye, nose, or mouth.
Yeah.
By the way, kerosene pump was actually invented by Dr. Nakamatsu, a great Japanese inventor. He invented
I do love how she goes into all of these little things. Like, I have to applaud that because that's what makes a video super interesting, you know?
many important things like the floppy disk. But I think his most important invention is guard wig.
This is guard wig. This wig, protective wig. This
Protective wig? What?
is a weapon inside, and when you have some blood coming, like this.
The second problem with
What? I don't. What? Comments, please. What do you think?
this kerosene heater is it produces CO2 and harmful smoke. Even the WHO has recommended people to stop using it because it's associated with higher risk of cancer, respiratory
Wow.
infections, asthma, etc. Because of that, many Japanese people open the windows after using the kerosene heater so they can get fresh air.
But that defeats the point, right? You've just heated up a room and then you open the window up and you let all the cool air back in.
So they just make the whole room cold again.
Yeah,
Then
exactly,
They
exactly.
have to turn on the kerosene heater to heat up the room again. But then they have to open the windows again to get
Oh my
fresh
goodness.
air. So
What?
when it comes to heating up the house, Japan is definitely behind. One of the things that people always say about Japan is the toilets are so advanced.
If you're a tourist, the reality is that you probably see a lot of advanced toilets because you're going to be staying in nicer hotels, in, I don't know, like business hotels, maybe even Western style hotels, etc. And everything has been adapted for the tourists. If you're a tourist, the likelihood is you're going to be going to department stores, you're going to be going to attractions that are meant for tourists and for domestic tourists too. And therefore you're going to probably see a lot more modern toilets. However, if you do go off the beaten track, if you go more into the countryside, if you go into older places, places that are a little bit hidden gems, etc., those sort of locations, you'll find squat toilets. And I'm not very sure if that's what she's going to be talking about, but I've got a feeling that this is where this is going.
Yes, we have some very advanced toilets. In fact, the leading toilet technology
even open by
company
themselves,
called
yeah.
Toto in Japan, they are developing smart toilets. Sensors in the toilet can measure your heart rate. Not only that, they take you
How do they do that? Can I take my pulse? Like,
the urine and then check if you have any health problems.
Wow.
Even though we have the state-of-the-art toilets in Japan,
this is it. I'm pretty sure.
at the same time, we still use very, very old-fashioned toilets. Squat toilets are still really easy to find all across Japan. A lot of older houses still have squat toilets, and many public parks still have these.
Yeah, public parks and a lot of the older stations or the more local stations, you'll find squat toilets. I don't really like them. If I have to use them, I will, but I'm not a big fan. Let me know, are you a squatter or are you not a squatter? What weird questions I'm asking.
Kinds of toilets. Interestingly, you can buy a special seat that turns your squat toilets into a
Really?
sitting toilet if you are tired of taking dumps the outdated way. But
Ah, can you imagine walking around with one of those seats just in case? I've even seen a squat toilet in a train, and I tell you something, there's nothing worse than having to take a dump on a squat toilet in a moving train. I'm not talking about Shinkansen, I'm talking about a local moving train, like really moving.
if Japan has so many advanced toilet technology, why do they still have these? Many of the Japanese people grew up with these toilets. And they also think it's much cleaner since they are not physically touching anywhere while they are doing their business.
I understand. And also, you know, like I mentioned earlier, the aging population is so big in Japan that they have a big say when it comes to these things.
Also, squatting is the
Oh my
ideal
God, look at that!
position for number 2. I was surprised when I went to my sister-in-law's place in America and she had a plastic footrest around the toilet. When I asked her what it was, she told me it helps you use the bathroom by putting you in a squat position. But
I mean, this is fact, you know, like the squat position is supposed to be the best position for doing your business. However, I don't know if it's worth it.
these days, more and more people are pushing really hard for Western style toilet all across Japan. For
Wow.
example, many public schools are removing squats toilet because kids don't know how to use this kind of toilet.
I can imagine,
Also,
yeah.
many older Japanese people prefer sitting toilet. You know, because their legs might be a little too weak to use
of
it.
course, yeah.
So in maybe 20 or 30 years from now, those,
Yeah.
squatting toilet might be gone.
20 or 30 years time. Will I still be traveling to Japan?
Bittersweet. You probably have the image that Japanese people study a lot. While it's true,
Yep, that is an image that I have. And whenever I've been doing anything, my Japanese friends have always said, "Oh, you don't study the same as us Japanese. Us Japanese, we study so much more."
Mr. Eats was surprised at how old-fashioned Japanese study technology is. For example, he uses a special app called Anki to
Anki.
study Japanese. This app shows you a digital flashcards that has words, pictures, and even sounds.
I recommend it if you're going to go into studying anything. It uses a system called spaced repetition, which basically means that you put in all the words into this virtual flashcard like system, and as you learn it, it will appear. It will appear, and you have to choose whether you know it well, whether you don't know it, or whether you know it so. I believe, and eventually it will show up. Initially, like every day, And then as you start learning it, it will start showing up. The word will start showing up once a week, then once a month, and eventually it won't show up, but it will remind you every now and then. So it's a really good way of learning things.
So, you guys have so many advanced tools to help you study. But in Japan, we still use very old tools like physical flashcards. Sometimes you see young kids on the train using these mini flashcards to study. We also
I know, I feel that a lot of people like studying the old-fashioned way with highlighting and writing, and I think that a lot of people tend to use like digital study tools as an additional thing to help. What are your thoughts on this? Wherever you're from, what is it like in terms of studying? Me personally, I still see a lot of people using traditional methods of studying, and maybe adding that just additional like technical study aid on the side. But I don't think it's taken over fully.
use this, the study sheet. Just highlight important things in your textbook or notebook. Then cover it with this colored sheet. The information will get blocked, so it's a useful but old-fashioned way to test yourself. Some Japanese students actually prefer to use these old tools because they think they can focus on much better. If you were
I think those tools are amazing personally.
using your phone or computer to study, it's easy to get distracted and spend most of your time playing a game or watching
Maybe.
videos. So maybe there's some merit to these old school study tools.
Equipaje, pesado, that's Spanish.
So, if you're surprised how behind Japan is, then you might be surprised to find out which American foods freak Japanese people out. I'm sure there are some things you've never
Ooh.
expected. I'll see you in that video. Thanks for watching. Okini!
Thank you so much, Mrs. East. Mrs. Eat. And I think that I will hopefully be watching that video in the future. Let me know if there is a specific video that you think that I should check out, that you want my commentary on, or you want my opinion on. I feel that I do reactions a little bit differently. I try to add some more substance and some like commentary from the tourist point of view of somebody who's been traveling to Japan for nearly a decade, over 20 times. So I hope that this insight that I'm bringing to the video is useful, interesting, and that you like it. Overall, it's entertaining. And if you do and you have liked this video, please don't forget to subscribe and like to show your appreciation. As always, don't forget that I do have a main channel called The Ninja Monkey, and that it's actually called Ninja Monkey, and that's where I put a lot of travel guides, tips and itineraries, etc. So you might find that channel really, really useful if you're planning a trip to Japan, that is. On that note, thanks for watching, stay positive and be a happy Gaijin. Till next time, bye.
Wow.
Yeah, I got it right.